In today's workplace and in our communities, finding 4 generations or possibly even 5 generations working side by side is not unusual. In this module, we'll look at the traits, beliefs, and life experiences that mark each generation and the challenges it presents for today's employers and in our communities. We'll also look at some strategies to overcome these differences. The 5 generations in the workplace and the approximate time frame are traditionalists who were born between 1929 to 1945, baby boomers who were born between 1946 to 1964, Generation X who were born between 1965 to 1980, millennials who were born between 1981 to 2000, and Generation Z who were born between 2001 to 2020. You can see from this slide the percentage of the workforce for each generation. Baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials make up the majority of the workforce at 93%. While Generation Z is at 5%, that number will only continue to grow. Let's take a closer look at each of the generations. Dependable, straightforward, tactful, and loyal describe traditionalists. That generation was shaped by the Great Depression and World War II. They're motivated by respect and recognition and believe that age equals seniority, where employees should start at the bottom and climb up through the company. For this generation, employers should provide satisfying work and opportunities to contribute while emphasizing stability. Baby boomers are optimistic, competitive, team-oriented, and tend to be workaholics. They were shaped by the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and Watergate. They're motivated by teamwork, duty, company loyalty, and they believe that achievement comes after paying one's dues. For this generation, employers should provide them with specific goals and deadlines, put them in mentor roles, and offer coaching-style feedback. It's also important to note that 65% plan to work past age 65. Generation X is flexible, skeptical, independent, and informal, and they were shaped by the AIDS epidemic, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the dot-com boom. They're motivated by diversity, work-life balance, and their personal professional interests rather than the company's interests. This generation is quick to move on if their employer fails to meet their needs. For Gen Xers, they want employers who give them immediate feedback and provide flexible work arrangements. Millennials tend to be competitive, civic and open-minded, and achievement-oriented. Columbine, 9/11, and the internet were events that shaped that generation. They're motivated by responsibility, unique work experiences, and are seeking challenge, growth, and opportunities for development, as well as a fun work life and work-life balance. For this generation, employers should get to know them personally, provide flexibility with their work schedules and work assignments, and provide immediate feedback. Generation Z can be described as global, entrepreneurial, progressive, and less focused. This generation was shaped by life after 9/11, the Great Recession, and the access to technology from a young age. And they're motivated by diversity, creativity, and they value independence and individuality. For this generation, employers should offer opportunities to work on multiple projects at the same time and provide work-life balance and allow them to be self-directed and independent. Of special note, only 40% want to interact with their boss daily. Now that we've looked at the characteristics of each generation, let's take a closer look at a couple of key differences. The first one is communication style preferences. Traditionalists prefer to receive information in a simple, straightforward, and summarized fashion. Direct mail and other forms of written communication are preferred. Baby boomers embrace technology from emails to blogs and rely on networking in their personal and professional lives. Generation X prefers a more direct, immediate approach. Email and voicemail work fine, but it is best to cut to the chase and avoid unnecessary meetings. Millennials embrace technology because they were brought up around it. They communicate via social networking websites and text messaging and expect instant feedback and acknowledgement. For Generation Z, texting is by far their preferred communication method, But despite the emphasis on mobile technology, many say that one-on-one communication is still the most effective form, either through text or face-to-face. Another characteristic to compare between generations is the relationship to the organizations at work and in the community. Traditionalists are generally loyal to the organization, favoring long-term tenure and commitment. Baby boomers tend to be more loyal to their team than to the organization. Gen Xers are primarily loyal to their organization's leaders. They want to be involved in organizations that make a difference. Millennials are more likely to be loyal to their peers than to the leaders of the organization. They care about authenticity and institutional values because they're counting on working within organizations to drive change. And Generation Z is just starting to build relationships with organizations because they grew up in a world in the idea of fake news. They value transparency and authenticity in an organization. As you can see, a multi-generational workforce possesses opportunities and challenges. The challenges are differing values, experiences, styles, and activities that could create misunderstandings and frustrations. But the opportunities for generational diversity, if managed properly, can add many positive contributions to an organization, such as innovation, creativity, and diversity in problem solving. The challenges differing generations bring to the workplace are generational tension and differing perspectives. Generational tension is a lack of respect for someone of a different generation than you. In order to reduce the generational tension at work or in the community, it's important to acknowledge that each generation has different perspectives on issues. Communication. As mentioned previously, different generations prefer different forms of communication. Work ethic. Older workers tend to focus more on time spent at the office, and younger workers focus more on quality and the quantity of the output. Technology. Each generation has different levels of comfort with technology. And change. Research has shown that younger employees tend to adapt to change more easily than older employees. They are using rapidly changing technologies and accepting different ways of accomplishing work. They are also more likely to change career paths and move among organizations. Millennials will soon make up the largest percentage of employees in the workforce. In order to improve our ability to retain great talent, it is important for extension boards to understand the generational differences among the staff and board members, and to think about what motivates different employees. So what do millennials want from their employers? Coaching. Millennials were raised with constant coaching and feedback and expect it to continue in the workplace. It can be as simple as a quick email response, a text, or a 2-minute conversation. Collaboration. Millennials are natural collaborators, particularly when the group's purpose and goals are understood. Measures. Millennials were raised with a lot of structure and measuring systems and are accustomed to understanding how they will be judged and assessed. Employers should define clear and consistent job assessment criteria. Motivation. Millennials want a work environment that is comfortable and inspires them to contribute without fear of being criticized. Examples include throwing a pizza lunch or giving time off for a job well done. Supervision. The structure millennials grew up with means they are used to supervision. However, they prefer to follow leaders who are honest, have integrity, and who treat them with respect. Flexibility and opportunity. Millennials want flexibility in their jobs and opportunities to learn and meaningfully contribute. Millennials also want opportunities for advancement and want to be able to advance rapidly. Thank you for taking time to learn more about the traits, beliefs, and life experiences that mark each generation, along with the strategies that you can implement in the workplace and community so that each generation is valued. If you would like more information about generational differences, check out the Generations Fact Sheet that was developed as part of the Welcome Aboard Board Leader Basics workshop.